Yes, yeah. 1, 2. Please give Ashen the headsets so we can have them. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We're using wireless, huh? Een, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hoe gaan dit met jullie? Dit gaan goed, dankie meneer. Ik zit op die bank. Crystal. Crystal Arnold. My lieflijke meisie. Are you getting me, Ashen? No? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 11, 12. 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Keeping talking. Keep talking. Keep talking. West Indies versus India. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry? I can't hear you. Mike. Is it clear though? Are you?
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please take your seats and silence your phones. Thank you. Okay, TV ready on the back? Okay, who'd like to ask the first question, please?
Jason, can you take us through the last few overs when you had Marlon Samuels and Dwayne Smith bowling when there's still a chance to win?
Yeah, at that stage, our frontline bowlers had given it their all. We were in the stage where we needed wickets, and we had 2 spells from each of our frontline bowlers, and just at the end it felt a little tired and couldn't get the job done. So I just felt Dwayne had gotten the wicket early on, and giving the ball the hope that he could work some magic.
And Jason, how short did you think you were in the end with your total? 21, 31 shot?
I think we were a little bit more short than that. I thought the wicket was a good wicket to bat on, but we just didn't apply ourselves when we batted. I thought initially we should have been looking at it in excess of 270. I think the wicket was good enough to get that. We just didn't.
Jason, the West Indies brought in Kemar Roach to bowl on a pretty fast track, but then on winning the toss, you chose to bat first. Any regrets on doing that, seeing how much pressure you had put India on when they batted? They certainly didn't like the short pitch bowling.
No, there's no regrets. I believe if we had set up the game properly with the bat, it would have been a different game. And in the end, we've just got to put up our hands when we've done wrong, and we just didn't bat well enough today, and we just didn't get enough runs on the board.
Jason, at what stage you thought the game actually slipped from your hands?
Well, it's clear to me we just didn't make enough runs. Yes, we did get wickets early on, but we just fell away in the middle, and it's tough trying to defend 182 on a good batting track, in my opinion, with a quality batting lineup. I just didn't think we just didn't bat well enough today.
If I can help you, if that 6 by Mahendra Singh Dhoni, was it the turning point?
With 6?
He had a 6 through the slips.
I just can't look at one shot. It's an entire game we played. If I look back at one shot, it's just wrong analysing, in my opinion. I just think we just didn't make enough runs, and then we weren't able to close it off.
Jason, 26 extras with the bowlers, including 19 wides. How important against the UAE is it to get it right before the knockout stage?
Yeah, in the circumstances where we bowled, we needed to be aggressive. It was quite clear that the short ball was working for us, so I just asked my bowlers to be aggressive. I would give up 1 or 2 wides for that. Probably 19 is a little bit too much, but in looking for wickets, you have to take risks, and that was just our option today with the short delivery.
Jason, you spoke, I think, last week or the week before about the challenges of coming in young captain and building your sort of authority within the dressing room. What do you say to those guys? It was obvious to all, as you touched on there, that the application was poor. Do you subtly make that point? Do you angrily make that point? What do you say to those guys? Because some of those batting displays were terrible.
Well, I have a very good relationship with most players. It may not require me to be speaking to them in a team setting. I may just put on one-on-one and just have a chat, and we just try to analyze things, try to work out stuff. Obviously, we didn't bat well in this game, we didn't bat well in the last game, so we just need to, address a few areas, but there are ways about that I would go about doing it, but we just need to be honest with ourselves, saying we just didn't bat well enough in these last 2 games, and batsmen just need to be accountable, for putting runs on the board.
How do you reassess your situation before game against UAE? Because still it's not clear whether you guys will be able to qualify or not. So at this situation, what does the captain and the team do?
Well, we've got to sit and wait first. There are a few more preliminary games to be played. We've got 1 more game. We've got some time off before that last game. So we've got to sit and wait how the table looks before our last game, and then we come up with a plan and a strategy of how we go forward.
What did Curtly Ambrose say to you guys out on the ground before you went out to bowl?
Well, he just gave us his normal speech. He's very passionate. He's very, into what he does, and he just tried to instill that confidence in us that the game wasn't finished. Just runs on the board. Runs on the board. They still have to get them, and it was just important. We just didn't go out there and just roll over. And it's just commendable the way the guys went out there and fought. To get 6 wickets. Trying to defend one and two. Just commendable. But just unfortunate, we just couldn't seal the deal.
Even if you beat the UAE, as we touched on, it's no guarantee that you'll make the quarterfinals. Is it a bit unnerving knowing that you might have to rely on other results now?
Well, I can only control what I can control, What happens in those last preliminary games, is beyond my control. What I can control is the game against UAE. And I could assure you that we were going to win that game, by all means. And we just need to be aggressive and finish this preliminary round, in a good manner.
Thanks very much, Jason. Thanks, Phil.
Now, do you know which is which?
Ladies and gents, we'll have MS Stoney shortly, hopefully shortly. Could somebody please, or could I just reiterate again, could you please silence your phones, because messages are beeping and everything and it's affecting our stream. So if you could please make sure your phones are silent. Thank you. Okay, just to remind you of the format with MS Stoney. First few moments will be in English, and then we'll answer 3 or 4 questions in Hindi. Who'd like to ask the first question?
Yeah. Sid.
Captain, how you assess Mohammad Shami's contribution during the initial over? Because every match he's getting a wicket for the team.
I think what we have said is what we want is partnership in batting and in bowling. So, we are not emphasizing too much on individual performance. What we are looking for is, how the two individuals, when they're bowling or batting, what kind of partnership they are creating, so that, the whole essence of the team is how to win games. So definitely he has bowled well, along with the other bowlers, because, if you're leaking runs from one end, it's difficult to get wickets or contain batsmen from the other end. That's something that was happening quite regular when it came to our bowling, outside the subcontinent. But what the bowlers are doing really well right now is they're hunting in packs. We are backing one good over followed by another good over. That actually increases the pressure, and finally you get a wicket out of it. In between those good overs, if you give too many runs, what really happens is more often than not the momentum shifts, and you don't get too many wickets at that point of time. So I feel the contribution of all the bowlers is superb. Umesh is bowling well, he's bowling quick. Shami again, yes, he has taken that extra responsibility of bowling with the new ball. And it gives Mohit, a bit more time in the middle order with a bit more fielders, and he has been very consistent. So overall, the fast bowling department, the 3 of them, they bowled really well as a unit.
Mahinder, was it too close for comfort, or you take heart from the you won by chasing against a reasonably decent opposition on a tough wicket?
I think it was a tough wicket. As I said, it's not really easy to chase this kind of a score on wicket where it's slightly double-paced. I felt when the West Indian team was batting, it was slightly more difficult, especially the first 10 overs. But after that, to some extent, it settled down. But still, there was a bit of swing for the West Indian bowlers, which meant, it was definitely difficult for our batsmen also. The good thing, the batting order, all the batsmen, they got a chance because this question was, it was about to come. If it would have won this comfortably, the question would have been, whether you're worried that the lower order has not been tested. But to some extent in this game, they are tested in this game. And hopefully, in the coming 2 games also, they'll get a bit more batting and will be ready for the knockout stages, because I feel we'll have to contribute more with the lower order batsmen. And if we can do that, definitely we can add 20-25 more runs, than what we have so far.
Mahi, you just spoke about the low order. Before the tournament started, you were asked to compare Akshar and Ravindra Jadeja, and you believe that Jadeja was a better batsman. Have you been happy with the way he's applied himself with the bat?
No, I
in the
said
tournament?
he needs to improve. He needs to step up really, because we have a lot of faith in him. But at the end of the day, you can't really play with hope. What you want is actually performance on the field. He has that capability. You don't get 3 triple hundreds in India, just because you know how to bat. He's definitely talented, but he needs to keep believing in himself. Every batsman, he's tested in a few areas. They will bowl short pitch deliveries to him. He'll have to find a way in which he can tackle it, because every batsman tackles it in a different way. So he'll have to find a way, what he can really. Or the second option will be, we try to give him a platform where he doesn't have to worry about that. He goes and freely plays his big shots, because where he'll find it difficult is, if he goes in close to the 38th over mark, then that's the time when he has to think as to, he will play his big shot, or he has to rotate, whether he can play the big shots and all of that. So, we'll have to assess all of that, and we'll have to, give him a bit more liberty to play his big shots, but it will need a platform, from the top order.
By 4 wins in 4 matches, how much point will you give to your team on a scale of 10 on these 4 performances? And would you say that the tough phase is over now and next 2 matches are not that tough, and you can relax a bit and give the chance to the boys who are sitting on the bench?
I think we'll give the credit to the team. We won't give ratings, a point system, because once the World Cup campaign is over, the big newspapers, Times of India, Hindustan Times, Bharat Times, they will all give us points. This individual gets this much point, then we'll sit in an examination. But overall, as I said, the unit has done well. Bowlers, they have stepped up after the tri-series. They learned a lot out of the tri-series, and also from the away tours. We were in New Zealand. We didn't win a single game in New Zealand, but still what I felt was the players were learning, what really needs to be done. And it's all a reflection of all of that. At times people get too busy about, no, we have to win. But what's more important is the bowlers or the batsmen, they have to learn what to do so that they can consistently win outside. So I feel to some extent, it's a reflection or learning of, all those tools, the difficult phase that we all went through. And, after that, this is, you can to some extent say, the fruitful period for us, where, everything has clicked. People are taking that extra responsibility. If the openers are not scoring, somebody else is scoring. But at the end of the day, we are putting runs on the board. And, when we are supposed to defend the total, we have done that also. So overall, it has been good, so far. We'll want to continue with it in the coming games.
Last 6 in English. One is Sarkar, second, third question, 1 minute.
Second part of my question you didn't answer.
Which one?
Bench strength.
No, the bench strength will warm the bench.
Quite a few catches were dropped. What's your take on that? And the second part is, after 3 months in Australia, how are you going to take up the next 2 matches in New Zealand?
Well, it's exactly the same. You don't have to do anything different. We have a fantastic journey from here. We go to Melbourne. From Melbourne, we go to Auckland. From Auckland, we drive to Hamilton. Yes, Hamilton, and we reach at midnight. I don't know what time we reach. So we have perfect journey scheduled for us that will keep us busy. That will give us less time to think about cricket. But, that's something we have to deal with. The condition will be slightly different. The grounds will be slightly smaller over there. But again, the last tour when we were there, to some extent that will help us, knowing the condition, the grounds, and all of that. So, hopefully, since we have played with the same set of players for a long period now, last 2.5, 3 years, hopefully they'll remember what needs to be done. Yes, I believe it was slightly tough, because of the wind factor. Everybody, almost, all the 11, you can say to some extent, dropped catches, and even the best of fielders and your average fielders also dropped catches. So there must be something really that must be bothering them. And most of them, they said, it was the wind, that because of which the ball was moving around a bit, and also, they're finding it slightly difficult to keep their eyes open. So even better reason to wear your glasses, so that the brightness is also not there, and you don't really blink too much.
Yes.
MS, moving forward, how crucial you think is a tough workout like this? And also, do you remember playing on a wicket as bouncy like this, and Indian bowlers especially being so hostile early on?
Well, if you see, a lot of people, they speak about the bounce at Perth and Brisbane, but also what you have to remember is these are two venues where the wicket is slightly elevated. So the keeper where he stands is actually close to a feet or 1.5 feet below. So, from outside you will see it as that extra bounce, but it's because the keeper is slightly behind. But definitely it has slightly more bounce than some of the other wickets. If you compare it to a Melbourne wicket or Adelaide wicket, definitely and pace, but it's not exactly how it looks from outside, because of the elevated playing area. So overall, as I said, yeah, it has been tough, but the last 3 months has been good, when it comes to the learning aspect. We have played under different circumstances, different conditions. We have done well to some extent, we have not done well. So overall, the learning has been good. And the last few games that we have played, again, in different conditions, the guys, they have stepped up, they have altered their length where according to the condition of the wicket or how the wicket is behaving. So overall, it's looking very complete, the performance so far. But again, as the guy rightly said, we dropped quite a few catches in this game, and they say catches win matches. So you have to take the catch, especially of players, who play the big shots, somebody like a Chris Gale or Andre Russell, because they only need one chance, and all of a sudden the scoreboard they starts to tick. And if they would have scored 230 or 240 runs, the situation would have been very different.
Last four, Kushan, second one, third Abhishek, fourth Sandeep.
MS, at the post-match presentation, you spoke about spinners not being that much effective in New Zealand, you're saying. So does that make you reassess the bowling combination? Because we are playing two specialist spinners?
Well, again, the problem is, the side looks better when we play with two spinners. And even though Jadeja is not performing really well as a batsman, but he still gives, if he is at 6 or 7, one of the slots, it looks like a slightly better side. We also have to keep in mind, the slow over rate, because a lot of people read into the stats. Somebody told me whenever we have played with 4 fast bowlers, 90% of the time we lose, and 100% of the time the captain gets banned. So, it becomes a difficult one, but at the same time, we'll see, as I said, hopefully the spinners, they would have learned from their last outing in New Zealand. Yes, they may not get a lot of turnover there, but they can still play with the pace, and, they can vary their length to a lot of extent. So, hopefully both the spinners are bowling well, and they'll carry the form forward into the next couple of games. Yes, the short boundaries will be a bit of a concern, but again, it will be good exposure for them. The reason being, we are nicely positioned in the table right now, but we'll still like to give our best.
And Messi, you should finish top of the table, and you've talked a lot of positives over the last couple of minutes. Are you playing good enough cricket to win the tournament?
Well, again, what will be important is how good a cricket you play on that particular day, especially going into the knockout stages. You will have to keep the big batsmen. By big, what I mean, that can really score quick runs. If you can get them out cheaply, that will be a big benefit. And all the sides, they have got batsmen like that. So a lot will depend on how you play or what kind of cricket you play on that particular day. I feel all the teams, they are nicely matched. All of them, they have the right combination, and all of them, they have clicked to a lot of extent. So I feel it's a very balanced World Cup. I don't like to really predict too much when it comes to cricket, but we'll just need to keep doing what we are doing right, and we'll take one game at a time.
Last two, Abhishek and Sandeep.
Mahi, both the West Indies openers are pretty aggressive. So what was the plan from the fast bowlers to them up front? Was it to not give them too many pitched up deliveries to hit?
No, we wanted to use the new ball, but at the same time, we didn't want to try too many different things because they bat in a slightly different way, especially if you see Chris, at times he looks to give room. So, you have that tendency at times, let me bowl slightly up, maybe I'll get a wicket. But what they did really nicely was, they kept hitting that back of a length area, and, they made it slightly uncomfortable for the batsmen. They used the bounce or the variable bounce that was available for them in the first end really well, and Chris went for the big shots, and ultimately, one of them didn't pay off. I felt they did well. The good thing was they didn't try too many different things. What instead was the bouncer, because we bowled quite a few bouncers, that went for wide. But still, I'm not too disappointed because we are getting a lot of wickets out of the short pitch deliveries. So even if we give a few runs, that most of the batsmen, they will find it difficult to clear the big outfields over here because some of the fields are just massive. To hit a six will be a big challenge.
Sandeep.
Something on the same lines, the two pacers which you have been having, this is a tournament where 300 runs have been scored, 400 runs, but your pacers have been really good. Like, how reassuring is that? And you have played these guys at the nets. As compared to the pace bowlers of the other countries, do you think that India has one of the best pace attack now? And how important is to have this reputation and to go forward in the tournament?
I think what the fast bowlers have done really well is, now they understand the importance of hitting that length and, not trying too many different things. And that's really paying off. And, it is something that you have to taste as a fast bowler, as a fast bowling unit, to start believing in that. Because, when you come from the subcontinent, you don't bowl a lot of overs, you get an opportunity to bowl, you look for wickets, you want to bowl 6 different deliveries. But when you start coming outside, outside the subcontinent on places where, the Kookaburra ball is used, and if it stopped swinging after a while, you have to stick to the right length. And I felt, they learned that, and they have started believing in that as a unit. And that's why we see, them not trying too many different things. They keep hitting the same areas, and, that's something paying off. So as far as our bowling unit is concerned, I think they are bowling really well. Whether they are the best in the world or not, it doesn't really matter to me because at the end of the day, my players are the ones who will perform for the team. So we will try to keep them fit. Hopefully we'll keep the injuries out of the way and we'll be playing with the best 11. So, if we can do that, definitely our bowling will be very challenging.
Last 4 question in Hindi, Neeru and Ghosh.
माही सुरेश रैना को लेके ये बात चलती रहती है कि एक वो हवा बन गया है शॉर्ट बॉल का और उनकी जो भी शॉर्ट कमिंग्स हैं तो बेसिकली उनको क्या कहा जाता है या क्या वो अपनी तरफ से एफर्ट करते हैं कि ये एक मेंटल थिंग है या हाउ डज यू अप्रोच इट?
हवा तो मीडिया बनाती है ना, तो आप बाहर की कंट्री में बाहर के दूसरे बैट्समैन भी शॉर्ट पिच डिलीवरी में आउट होते हैं, बट हमारे सर पे वो तमगा लगा दिया जाता है यही छोटे बॉल में आउट होता है, इसको छोटा ही डालो. बट आई थिंक ही इज़ बैटिंग वेल. पिछले वर्ल्ड कप में भी अगर आप देखें तो कई बार ऐसा होता है कि कई टीमों के साथ जो लोअर ऑर्डर है उसको अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिलती है. अगर लोअर ऑर्डर को अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिलेगी तो वो कितने रन बनाएगा. इफ़ यू आर गोइंग एंड बैटिंग इन द 40th ओवर, हाउ मच यू कैन स्कोर. And if you get out, you will get out for 20 runs, 25 runs. And at the end of the 3rd or 4th game, they'll be like, he's out of form, he's not scoring, 20 run banata hai. But that's the point where the strike rate is more important because if you keep emphasizing on this point, फिर क्या हो जाता है कि आदमी फिर अपने लिए खेलता है कि यार कौन एक्स्ट्रा शॉट मार के आउट होगा, 45 ओवर हो गए हैं, 30 रन 25 रन बनाओ, नॉट आउट रहो, खुश रहो. बट वी डोंट वांट टू डेवलप दैट हैबिट. हम कोशिश करते हैं कि हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा रन बना सकें क्योंकि कोई भी स्कोर एक सेफ स्कोर नहीं होता है मॉडर्न क्रिकेट में. अगर आप 300 बना रहे हैं तो कोशिश करो 305 310 बनाते हैं. एंड ऑल्सो नंबर 5 की अगर बात की जाए तो आप इतिहास देख लो इंडिया का, कितने प्लेयर्स ऐसे हुए हैं जो नंबर 5 पे सक्सेसफुल हुए हैं. युवराज सिंह अकेला एक प्लेयर होगा जो कि कंसिस्टेंटली अच्छा करता रहा हमारे लिए, एंड देन ही गॉट प्रमोटेड टू बैट एट 4. उसके अलावा हम सबको इधर उधर शफल करते रहे हैं. And you will have to ask some of the batsmen, जिन्होंने उस नंबर पे बैटिंग की है. Virat has batted at that number, Rohit has batted, and nobody really has been successful. So, he's the best that we have got, and we need to back him, because if you don't back him, the new guy who comes, he'll be like, मुझे तो शॉट नहीं मारना भाई, मैं अपने लिए खेलता हूँ, 25 रन बनाओ, घर जाके बैट खुश रहो.
Just आपके हिसाब से for you to get some time.
Kaushik, you'll speak in English, I'll translate in Hindi.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to get some time in the middle, you had to play a different kind of role to see the team through. And how significant was it for you to bat?
जैसा कि मैंने बोला, हिंदी में जवाब दूँ ना? नहीं, जैसा कि मैंने बोला कि अच्छा था हमारे लिए कि जो लोअर मिडिल ऑर्डर है उसको भी चांस मिला बैटिंग करने का, क्योंकि आप चाहते हैं कि आप रन बनाते रहें. अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ कैसे भी हों, लास्ट में आपको लगता है यार थोड़े रन और होंगे तो अच्छा होगा. तो एक अच्छा अपॉर्चुनिटी था. थोड़ा प्रेशर था. ऑब्वियसली मैं जिस नंबर पे बैटिंग करता हूँ, अगर बैटिंग आएगी तो प्रेशर ही रहेगा. या तो लास्ट के 3, 4, 5 ओवर, 7 ओवर होंगे, या जैसा कि आज चेजिंग हो रहा था उस तरीके का प्रेशर होगा. तो एक रियलिस्टिक सिनारियो था, क्योंकि नीचे के जो लोअर ऑर्डर बैट्समैन है उसके साथ पार्टनरशिप करनी पड़ी, अश्विन के साथ पार्टनरशिप हुई. तो एक बहुत ही रियलिस्टिक अपॉर्चुनिटी था, और उसी तरीके से मैच भी एंड तक गया. तो रिज़ल्ट अच्छा था. एंड द गुड थिंग इज़ जो नंबर 6, 7 पे बैट्समैन बैटिंग करते हैं, 2 रोल होता है. एक तो रोल होता है कि जाओ और घुमाओ, क्योंकि जो टॉप ऑर्डर है उन्होंने अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म दिया है, तो आंख बंद करके घुमाओ. दूसरा होता है टॉप ऑर्डर आउट हो गया है, जाके खेलो. सो दोनों में प्रेशर रहता है, क्योंकि रन बनाना मुश्किल है, और यहाँ पे बिग बाउंड्रीज़ में दैट्स वाई हम लोग कोशिश कर रहे हैं एम्फसाइज़ करने का कि हमें एक्सेप्ट करना होगा कि हम यहाँ पे बड़े बड़े छक्के नहीं मार पाएंगे, क्योंकि साइड्स में जो बाउंड्रीज़ है वो बहुत बड़ी हैं, और थोड़ा पेस भी है फास्ट बॉलर्स पे, सारे टीम के फास्ट बॉलर्स में. तो हमें मैन्यूवर करना होगा, उनका पेस यूज़ करना होगा, बीच में मार के 2-2 रन लो, इधर उधर करके इनोवेटिव शॉट्स खेलो. सो होपफुली आगे के समय में, आगे के मैचेस में भी थोड़ा थोड़ा अपॉर्चुनिटी अगर मिलता रहेगा, तो क्वार्टर फाइनल में जो आपके टॉप 7 हैं उसको टूर्नामेंट में किसी तरह की बैटिंग मिलती रही होगी. क्योंकि एट द एंड ऑफ द डे आप प्रैक्टिस में कितनी भी अच्छी बैटिंग कर रहे हो, आप चाहते हो कि आप नेट्स छोड़ के मैच में थोड़ा अपॉर्चुनिटी मिले, थोड़ा आप खुल के खेलो, बिकॉज जाते साथ मारना सबसे मुश्किल काम है. इवन मेरे लिए भी बहुत मुश्किल होता है. आई डोंट रियली लाइक इट, बट समबडी हैज़ टू डू इट, सो दैट दूसरों का जो परफेक्ट स्लॉट्स होता है वो उस पर बैटिंग कर सके.
Last to Ghosh and Lele.
MS, you have spoken about the importance of the talent as batting, and they're getting tested and do well. Since you bat a lot with them, what kind of things do you tell them? I mean, not just on the ground, but also when they're getting the preparation at the nets.
हम बस ये कोशिश करते हैं कि अगर मैं बैटिंग साथ में कर रहा हूँ, तो मैं कोशिश करता हूँ कि अपनी तरफ से मैं जितना इन्फॉर्मेशन उनको दे सकूं, उतना ज़्यादा इन्फॉर्मेशन प्रोवाइड करूं, बताऊं कि मुझे ऐसा लगता है ये बॉलर ये करने को देख रहा है, बॉल थोड़ा टेल इन हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है. क्योंकि लास्ट में यही देखना पड़ता है, बॉल स्विंग तो होना बंद हो जाता है, बट कई बार काफ़ी टीमें रिवर्स स्विंग कर पाती हैं, तो उनको थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस देते हैं कि उतना पेस नहीं है बाहर से, क्योंकि बाहर से सब चीज़ से तेज़ लगती है, बट वंस यू गो इन एंड बैट, अंदर जाके आपको पता चलता है कि रियल पेस क्या है. पहले बॉल में हार्ट रेट ऊपर रहता है, बट उसके बाद थोड़ा हार्ट रेट नीचे हो जाता है, आपको पता चल जाता है कि रियलिस्टिकली इस पेस में आ रहा है, इस तरीके का स्टीप बाउंस है. तो ये सारी चीज़ें अगर आप उनको बताओगे जो बैटिंग में जो उनका स्ट्रेंथ नहीं है, सो उनको थोड़ा कंफर्टेबल फील होता है, एंड थोड़ा टाइम गुजारने के बाद वो भी थोड़ा कंफर्टेबल फील करने लगते हैं, तो रोटेट करने लगते हैं. क्योंकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा डिफ़िकल्ट होता है, अगर बैट्समैन के लिए डिफ़िकल्ट है तो 9, 10, 11 के लिए तो और भी ज़्यादा डिफ़िकल्ट होगा. बट अभी जो हमारे 9, 10, 11 हैं वो थोड़ा थोड़ा तो बैटिंग कर ही लेते हैं, एंड आई फील बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है. हर गेम में उनकी बैटिंग नहीं आएगी, बट नॉकआउट स्टेज में ऐसा हो सकता है कि लास्ट 8 रन में उनकी बैटिंग आ जाए, एंड दैट्स अ टाइम उन पर प्रेशर बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ जाता है.
Last one, Sunil.
वहीं कभी आप 45 कि भाई 2 चौके मारे, 3 छक्के मारे, उसकी एक नशा और होती है, लेकिन जब ऐसी इनिंग खेलनी पड़ती है तो वो जीत के बाद क्या समाधान मिलता है?
नहीं, मेरा बैटिंग जो है मैंने काफ़ी ट्यून अप किया, स्पेशली 2000 आई थिंक 5 या 6 में हम पाकिस्तान में खेलने गए थे. उसके बाद काफ़ी ट्यून अप करना पड़ा, क्योंकि उसके बाद कंसिस्टेंटली मैं नीचे बैटिंग कर रहा था. बैटिंग नंबर से ज़्यादा मेरे लिए स्लॉट इंपॉर्टेंट था कि 30 ओवर के बाद मैं बैटिंग करने जाता था. तो जो भी डिमांड्स थे उसके हिसाब से मुझे इम्प्रोवाइज़ करना पड़ता था। कभी होता था कि हम चेज़ कर रहे हैं और ज़्यादा स्कोर करना है तो बड़े शॉट खेलने पड़ते थे, कई बार जाके संभालना पड़ता था क्योंकि ज़्यादा विकेट गिर गए हैं। तो कभी ऐसा मैंने फिक्स्ड माइंडसेट के साथ अपना क्रिकेट जो बैटिंग है उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा रिजिड नहीं रहा हूँ। जो भी टीम का डिमांड है, सिचुएशन का डिमांड है, उसके हिसाब से थोड़ा थोड़ा इम्प्रोवाइज़ करके जो भी मैं अपने तरफ से कर सकता हूँ वो करने की कोशिश करता हूँ। एंड आई बिलीव उससे मुझे बहुत ही ज़्यादा हेल्प मिली है। हर कोई बोलता है कि मुझे प्रेशर फील नहीं होता है, मुझे भी उतना ही प्रेशर फील होता है जितना सबको होता है। इट्स जस्ट दैट कि मैं उस सिचुएशन में काफ़ी बार रह चुका हूँ, तो मुझे पता है कि इससे कैसे बाहर निकला जा सकता है। बट इट्स ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं हमेशा ही उससे बाहर आ जाऊँगा, बट एटलीस्ट जब आपको रास्ता पता होता है तो थोड़ा आसान हो जाता है। एंड यू हैव टू वर्क विद द टेलेंडर, जो दूसरे बैट्समैन हैं आपके साथ, उनको भी थोड़ा हेल्प करते रहना चाहिए क्योंकि अकेले आप मैच नहीं जिता सकते हैं। तो काफ़ी सेटिस्फाइंग होता है ऐसा विन, बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे जब तक टीम जीतती रहे तो डजेंट मैटर 15 बॉल खेलने को मिले या 20 या 40, जब तक टीम जीत रही है सब ठीक है।
Thanks, MS. Thanks, Dr. Baba.
सर यार 4 प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस एक बार में हो गया। सवाल तो उतने ही करता होगा।
Thank you.